we have to talk about what happened with the Phillies and the Dodgers late into last night. So I mentioned at the top of the show, had the flu. So I didn't have coffee from Friday until Tuesday morning-ish. I had an espresso. I did like one of my iced drinks, the base of which is espresso. Oh, I was up at 1 a.m. I was up watching the end of the Phillies game. I mean, it was technically a little bit before 1 a.m., but there was part of me, I was getting ready to tweet about how, like, I can't believe they got me to stay up this late only to blow this lead because bullpen. And I was upset. 6-6. I was upset. And then I'm seeing like, oh, Bader could end up coming up to bat. Wouldn't that be a pretty good spot? He's been pretty damn clutch. Cool. And I felt like an asshole after the fact because I'm like, I didn't look at Marchan as a guy that like was going to be the one to deliver the back-breaking hit. But when that ball took off his bat, I'm like laying in bed. My wife is asleep. I'm trying to be very quiet. I'm very locked in on this Phillies game on my phone. And I like started having a seizure because I'm so excited. And then she kind of like half wakes up like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's okay. The Phillies just hit a 3-run home run in the 9th inning. And it's almost 1 a.m. Go back to sleep. I wasn't yelling, but it was very exciting. So you have this moment where you go, wow, what a cool moment. And how about the fact that Rob Thompson let Marchan in to hit there? Because you would think JT Realmuto would be the guy probably going to pinch hit. Why wouldn't you? Arguably the best catcher in baseball. One of the best catchers in baseball. Why wouldn't you have him go in? He's had some clutch hits of his own this season. Then you find out after the game that Realmuto was sick. He was ill. Now, was he just super, super hungover from the night before when the Phillies clinched the NL East at Dodger Stadium? Methinks that illness may have something to do with the hangover. But if he is ill, all the best to JT Realmuto. We hope you're feeling better. But there is a non-zero chance that maybe JT Realmuto had a few extra drinks and wasn't feeling so great the next day. And that's okay. We don't judge here at the Russ Joy Show. We say, good job, JT Realmuto. You helped this team win the NL East. You're going to hopefully help this team win a World Series. If you need to be ill for a day, you be ill for a day. Now, if he's actually sick, hopefully he doesn't have the flu that I had, because God help him, that's a horrible experience. We still wish JT Realmuto the very best. I don't know if he's back in the lineup for the next game or not. We'll find out soon enough. But Marchan just kind of highlights yet another one of the things that has made this Phillies team very, very different, and especially different since the trade deadline, and stands in stark contrast to the 2024 team. And so we need to all have a moment here where we acknowledge that you are allowed to feel one way about a team and then pivot how you feel about that team when the facts change. If you recall, take a trip down memory lane with me a little bit, shall you? Yes, you shall. Beginning of the season, first half of the season. What was I always talking about on this show? It felt like very much of the same team from 2024. They were afraid to mess with the vibes. Stubbs was sent down. Everybody's sleepwalking. Nothing looks that great. There's nothing that gives you that idea of there being a killer instinct. It doesn't feel like a galvanized team. People are more actively questioning Rob Thompson. It feels like we are heading on a crash course with an early playoff exit at best. And then some things start happening. And then the trade deadline happens. And that back end of the bullpen is solidified with Duran. And all of a sudden you feel a weight come off the shoulders of the team. And then over time, Bader starts hitting in a meaningful way. You see Brandon Marsh, who has really turned it on since the start of May, has been a much better guy at the plate. You've seen Nick Castellanos definitely go through his struggles, but he's found a way to contribute in a somewhat meaningful way on and off here for at least a few weeks. And you've even seen a resurgence of Max Kepler. Now, resurgence would also imply that there was, at one point, a surgence or something, and I don't know if there ever really was a getting off the ground and having a nice start to a season, but Kepler has also figured out a way to contribute. And then as this team started to face adversity, the Zach Wheeler thoracic outlet syndrome being shut down for the season, Trey Turner hitting the IL, Alec Boehm hitting the IL, all of a sudden you started saying, we're going to figure out if this team is different or not. We're going to figure out if this team is the one from last year that played 500 baseball for the second half of the season and ultimately didn't have a killer instinct, couldn't put away the Mets, got their asses kicked in the playoffs by the Mets. We're going to see if it's that same team or something different. And what we have seen here, make no mistake about it, is a vastly different team. This is a team that has had to legitimately face adversity from a player personnel perspective, has had to face adversity in terms of expectations, had to lose some of that initial good vibes in the clubhouse in a Garrett Stubbs, and has now brought them back twofold, because he brought Stubbs back, right? Late in the season, he gets brought back, and now you have this guy in Bader who very much seems to have fit perfectly into that clubhouse. You're watching a potential MVP or MVP level season out of Kyle Schwarber. You are seeing a Bryce Harper who, quite frankly, home run production-wise, is significantly ahead of where I would have expected him to be if you had told me he was going to be as injured as he has been at different stretches this season. And this rotation has figured out a way to continue to get things done, even with Zach Wheeler out. Oh, and by the way, Walker Buehler looks even better right now, and I'd probably trust Walker Buehler more than I would trust Aaron Nola. Oh, and by the way, Aaron Nola, every third start, puts together something that's at least remotely acceptable. Oh, and by the way, we'll just leave Taijuan Walker off to the side. But you're seeing guys also step up that you might not have expected to. And Marchan's one of them. That's not a guy that I would have expected a season ago to be taking an at-bat in a meaningful moment in a game. It's not a guy that I would have expected to see take a meaningful at-bat in a meaningful moment this late in the season. And yet he's the guy who delivers a 3-run blast to win the game last night.